Can Milo Yiannopoulos be an antisemitic, homophobic, racist if he's a Jewish gay man who likes black?
This is a world premiere. This is a world.
So, recently there was a protest at Berkeley. The protest was to shut down a scheduled appearance of Milo Yiannopoulos. Now, many are using this protest, which is shown in the media as a violent riot, as an example of how the left is just out of control when it comes to free speech. Now, even if you don't know Milo, you've probably pieced together that this individual probably had something to say that the students found offensive. You probably might even be willing to admit that whatever this individual was going to say is something that was going to be experienced as profoundly disturbing to the audience of students at Berkeley. You probably still agree that all speech should be protected and that Milo should have been given the opportunity to say whatever it was that he had to say. What you may not know is that the day before the speech, Breitbart, a news outlet where Milo himself is an editor, probably their most famous editor, broke the story that during his presentation, Milo Yiannopoulos had plans to name the names of undocumented students who were currently enrolled at the school. During a recent talk at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Milo publicly named and mocked a transgender student for filing a Title IX complaint about bathroom access. About a week ago, I made a video where I called Milo Yiannopoulos a horrible person. In that same video, I also called myself a horrible person. Let's just set that aside and not assume the worst in anyone. Okay, Milo Yiannopoulos is seen as a figurehead in the alt-right movement, a movement that prides itself in nationalism and has been accused of racism and anti-Semitism. Now, he flatly denies this, saying the alt-right hates him because he's a Jewish gay man who can't shut up about his black boyfriend. Milo, you wouldn't be the first tool who was used in a cause that served against your own best interest. In Nazi Germany, some Jews took on a role in collaboration with the Nazis as Jewish police in ghettos, who, among their responsibilities, was securing the deportation of other Jews to concentration camps. In May of 1987, the New York Times ran a story that mentioned the several hundred Jewish Kapos, all selected by the Nazis to oversee and punish their own people, often with the hope of sparing themselves. I'll put a link to the story in the description box below. The US is full of examples of activists and politicians and other leaders who have used their power to forward an anti-gay agenda, passing anti-gay legislation, only to have it discovered later that they themselves were gay, or at least bisexual. As far as having a black boyfriend, Thomas Jefferson kept a black mistress, Sally Heming, while he continued to advocate for slavery and was a slave owner himself. So no, Milo, none of these things lets you off the hook. In fact, Milo, these aspects of your character may make you even more dangerous than if you were a straight white dude engaging in these attacks on social justice, as you have been in your rise in the ranks of the alt-right. Let me talk to you about internalized oppression. A person in an oppressive situation is constantly having reinforced a view of themselves based on the actions of the oppressor. This is either as a devalued human, sometimes not even a human, and sometimes just as a thing. After a while, the oppressed person begins to internalize these beliefs. I mean, this person who has all this power must know something, and if they tell me I deserve this treatment, then maybe I start to believe it. I begin to idolize the oppressor as the image of what a fully realized human must be. And I understand myself, or others like me, as contemptible or even beyond contempt. Kind of like Stockholm Syndrome. Only with the oppressed, sometimes this relationship can last a lifetime, beginning at birth, or even last for generations, getting to the point where the oppressed believe that this is just the way things are supposed to be. Sometimes, however, the oppressed individual, for whatever reason, will be given the opportunity to raise their station. Usually, it's because the oppressor needs someone to take on the responsibility of helping to maintain the oppressive situation. Sometimes the oppressor, being a narcissist, detects that admiration and thinks, I could use an individual like this. So the oppressor promotes this individual from among the ranks of the oppressed and gives them some additional responsibility. Now, does this promoted individual look back on their experience as being one of the oppressed and say, you know what, guys, I'm gonna take it easy on you? Unfortunately, not always. See, for that individual, the oppressor is still alive inside them and still in control. That individual will do their best to impress the all-knowing, all-seeing oppressor by being an even more ruthless administrator of oppressive action than the oppressor themselves. This is how you can have a gay Jewish member of the alt-right who dates black men who is more ruthless than someone who doesn't have anything to prove. So you have someone claiming to be a defender of free speech who seems more concerned with the deportation of immigrants, outing transgender people and painting them as criminals, painting gay people as pathological, convincing us that all black people are stupid and illiterate. And also, as a Trump supporter, Milo, you might really want to take a good look at who's actually attacking free speech in this country. All this to show that regardless of what Milo might say or how flamboyantly he says it, Milo is a pretty staunch defender of the status quo and the tool of the oppressive state. All of these actions become part of reinforcing a dominant narrative that certain individuals, certain beings, are expendable based on their religion, their race, their gender, their species, and in some cases targeted towards specific individuals, putting them in danger of physical harm. And considering the violent climate we're in, it's kind of like in the Deep South in the 60s, a white person saying, hey, that black guy whistled at a white woman, knowing full well it was gonna end with someone being lynched. Individuals who would already be inclined towards violence are given the excuse they need to act out against vulnerable communities. Being a woman, being black, being a Muslim, being atheist, being Jewish, being vegan doesn't give you a free pass when it comes to upholding systems of oppression. Even saying you stand for liberation, it doesn't mean that you're not playing an active role in the subjugation of others. Without screaming fire, I just think it's important that we think deeply about who we identify as heroes in this struggle and who we label as cancer. What do you think? Is Milo fighting for liberty, or do actions speak louder than his words? Look for more videos on free speech, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia later in the week, and don't forget to visit my Patreon. That's it for this video. Like it if you like it, share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourself. Peace.
And I love myself. The world is a ghetto with guns and